synergy. Synergy, what I mean is linkages, forging with different entities. That is synergy. Synergy is in human. Human means, HR, human resources. That means human capital in development parlance, human capital. We got to synergize with the human capital, syncing human capital. Next is the financial. That human resource management is a different task. Financial management is another important task. Sometimes I know that mostly in our studies, financial management is underplayed, not overstated. But in real parlance, financial management is the key in which the donors pay much attention for that word, financial management. So that means financial management is equally very important. Then means, suppose for example, migrant housing. So a lot of materials are there. So you need to synchronize, you need to manage it or maneuver it. All these sort of things are required. So that means material management and time resource. This is very, very important. Time is a part of the management. Time management is very important. Suppose you have under management 3 years or 5 years or 1 year, you have to accomplish the tasks within the specified time. If it is delayed, it will be a problem. So that is a time resource, and get the planned activities and tasks done. So that is we have to get the work done. Management is nothing but getting the work done. The same is the case here. Various project activities and tasks which are part of it, that is to be done. That is to be implemented to accomplish that.
Sir, excuse me, sir. Sir, the slide is not moving, sir. Will you just go to the next slide?
Okay. Sorry. Next is the impact. Impact is a larger one. For example, security or stable income. So the outcome may be employment. So you are recurring or drawing wages or income out of it. That is called the project, because you have specified purpose or goal. As I told you, these are all called objectives. The larger objective is the goal, and the intermediate or the immediate one is the project purpose or the project objective. So that the objective that we have to accomplish it, achieve it within the specified time. Even if the goal is not, once you achieve this purpose, automatically it will contribute to the purpose of the project. So naturally, if you are able to achieve it, it will add value or it will contribute to the goal. So that is management as per the specified time. So this is called project management. This definition which I made is exclusively on the basis of my own experience. So that is briefly about the project management. Now coming to the various steps and stages of management. This is equally applicable to business management project as well as or whether infrastructure project or our own NGO projects or CSO project or any institutional project. So this I am summarizing it. Once a project is approved, as I told you, next stage is operationalization, or that is called operational planning, action planning. So the project as such is still a theme. A type of you assumed certain things, you presumed that one you need to break it into small activities or tasks. That is called the operational and action planning. So the word action planning is mostly used in NGOs because it is action oriented one. What a practical action plan, operational plan. We have implemented so many projects. I have a lot of operational plan. In case if you want a similar operational plan, I can send you. Because of the lengthy nature of it, sometimes I was not able to put everything into this in this process. Operational planning involves, suppose you have different activities and budget. So kindly note that the budget, as I told you, is very, very important. Sometimes you develop certain activities. Activities should be very clear. Sometimes they may think that capacity building activity. Capacity building can be done through different ways. Through awareness raising is one part of it. Through training, through workshop, through sometimes this type of webinar. So many ways which you can do. You have to spell out very clearly under operational plan what are the activities, tasks, which is part of the capacity building. So that is the part. Even awareness is a larger part of it. How are you going to create awareness? That list of activities, some it should not be abstract. Activities should be linked with the budget. Suppose your budget is say 1 lakh for awareness raising. What are the things which you can do? Some may be for or flyer or some posters. That may be for that you have some money. Some may be for example some video material development. For that your budget is this much. According to the available budget you have to make. But I found most of the NGOs or sometimes what do they list out some. I know some activities may be no cost, some may be low cost, some may be high cost. So whatever is the budget available you have to do. Suppose low cost activities you are proposing something, but your energy and time will be spent. You should not dissipate your energy. That is the point which I wish to highlight it here. Just because that's why you have to be serious. We all the time correlate and relate with your budget. Please remind this on that one. So this is one part of it. The similar way you have 4-5 components of a project. Break it into different units of the cost, because cost is part of a different unit. Then part of it into different time slots. Take example, in a month you have to do this one. In the quarter you have to do this. All these things, slot it out in a Excel sheet, and that becomes the operational plan. Once your project should be implemented only after operational planning. Operational planning involves the operational budget also. The budget is sometimes very strategic, sometimes broadly, because donor wants a broader budget, not a very minute, small budget. That's why unit cost is very important. Instead of, for example, per head cost, per diem cost, per head, this much is the cost. Then it is easier. Then that per head cost is to be worked out separately under the operational plan. Operational planning involves activity planning, as well as the budget planning, time planning, and the HR planning. HR planning is very important. That you may be knowing. HR appointing this for a specific purpose. You have a job description, job design, job skills and tasks need to be specified, and there should be an agreement. All these things should be formalized. It is not an informal one. You have to be formalizing all these things in a legal way, because it is part of the auditing also. Human auditing is part of that, and that's why you have to be very clear. So that is project action planning. This also involves time planning, material planning. All these are activity planning. So another word which you need to keep in the activity tracker. Yesterday also I told you. Suppose now donor has a tracking mechanism through digital means, through a computerized system. So tracking. Suppose your particular activity awareness that can be tracked till outcomes. So that tracking process needs to be chalked out as part of your operational plan. So each human planning is a sub part of the operational planning. Activity planning is a sub part of it. Time planning is sub part of it. And material planning is sub part of it. Financial planning is sub part of it. All these together constitute action planning. Sometimes most of the NGOs, they do activity planning, but budget planning is under self. So that is a shared part of it. So this you need to take into account of them, convince them what are the resources available. All these things as part of the transparency equally important. This is practically what I mean is operational planning. The time constraint, I'm going to next one. Next is project initiation. So once you have made the operational planning, you have to have a preparatory phase, launching phase. It is a type of a rocket which is launching, taking off. More or less, the initiation stage involves some launching. That is called sometimes the entry phase activities or preliminary activities, in which you have to have some projects. Normally, big project takes 3 months even for the launching. So good planning is important, as I told you. Then under this preparatory, what are the preparatory launching phases? Because you have to publicize it, convey it to various stakeholders about this one. Then you have to engage them in the operational process. That means initiate it, kickstart this project involves a lot of a preparatory project, preparatory phases, appointment of person and office. You have to set up an office, whether it is part of the very same office. Sometimes you have to, for example, our office is in Chennai. We have a regional office in different states, especially in Jharkhand. We have a strong offices in Jharkhand, for example, in Ranchi, in Dalton, in Jamshedpur. All these areas, we have our own offices. So we need to decide where, which office, and what are the things to be deployed. All these things you have to decide, and that is part of the project initiative. Because for one of time, I'm going to next is project implementation execution. It is similar to any infrastructure project or any development project. Here also project implementation. This is, for example, 3 years. So your implementation starts from number 1. So first 3 phases over, actual implementation will commence. You can commence even first month also, but depending upon your capacity, shorten the phase. All these things are part of it. Under this implementation, the most key part of it is HR. So HR need to be allocated with specific tasks, and you need to skill them. So sometimes, for example, a BDO office in government, any project comes, the BDO is implementing, whether it's an AREGA or housing scheme, and without preparing them, their mindset. So they are part of the execution in government. So, they are all person coming to that level after experience. So they need desensitization, de-learning. So many things are there. Everybody carries a load of prior experience, hangovers. So you need to resolve. You need to make them to de-learn through training by customizing this project. You have to put our project mission or our project goals, everything to them. Unless until they are clear, implementation hitches may arise. So that is why equipping, you have to budget for HR training. Every year at least you need to allocate 6-7 days minimum, I am saying, for HR one. For that, budget need to be allocated. Donor, I don't think they will object, except in government and other CSR project. Others they will allow. So that is this part of it, project implemented. Then they will implement, take it as their ownership, and then take it forward, implement the activities and tasks. And suppose, for example, there are 4, 5, or there are 10 persons, some are managers, some may be coordinators, some may be the grassroots activities. Make the systems clear who is accountable to whom and what are the tasks they have to achieve. What are the targets they have to make it very clear. The similar way, what are the budgetary allocations and what is the to-do list and what you have to do and what is your output, what you are expecting from awareness, what you are expecting from training, what you are expecting from the human resource, human rights, or the legal protection for migrants. So all these things need to be very clear to them conceptually and empirically and practically. So for that, they need to skill. That skill you have to ensure them to acquire through practical means. Hand-holding. One thing I want to convey is training is not merely of four-wall training. Hand-holding is another form of this one. Mentoring is another form of this one. Continuously updating, giving feedback. All these are a part of it. So that is the thing. The same way budget. Normally in NGOs, what is happening is NGO, the finance managers are building a China wall, and they will be away from the real operational process. That is wrong. So they should be also part of the process. You need to sensitize them about the project, about the programmatic aspect of it, or the activity part of it. That is also part of it. Then time planning, implementing it within the time on that code. So that is part of the project implementation and execution. Next is the project review, monitoring, evaluation, learning. So this is another part of the project management. Project review is very important. That is any project, any management, reviewing, monitoring, evaluating, learning, and improving are part of the project cycle. So monitoring, I will explain what is in the next slide. Review. So unless until you review on concurrent regular basis, sometimes misfiring, you may derive. Sometimes you go beyond date. All these are all possible. So that is why project monitoring system is very important. Important. I will, hello. Some interruption. Hello. Sir, I will in detail in the next slides on project monitoring and other thing. Next stage is project exit or project phase out or project withdrawal and project scale up. The project exit, any project, because funded project, they have 3 years project or 5 years project. You have to have mechanism to have exit. So in big project, suppose infrastructure project, who should own the building? Who should own the materials? HR part after the project is left to the agency, whether to retain in another project and whatever it may be. As part of the exit project, we have some system for sustainability in which you continue it in the next phase of this. Suppose if it is a social enterprise project, for example, the exit, it is ongoing one, so it will continue to generate income, then it is things are okay. For example, if your project is an advocacy project in which influencing the policy, migrant policy, legal policy, then within these say 3 years that you need to make some differences, some changes in that one. Suppose the changes are made, then automatically migrants will get benefit and they will continue to accrue the benefits or the gains from the project. So that is really called the sustainability. So all these part of it. Suppose some donors has a clear exit policy. For example, the asset, who will own it? Sometimes technically the money is for the community or the organization is part of it. Sometimes some donor expect to hand over process to the community or the NGO should suppose vehicle is part of it. How you are going to continue with all these, depending upon the policy of the donor, you have to have the exit mechanism. That exit mechanism is based on the policies. Suppose the project, this is another part of the NGO is, sometimes once the project is over, there are hardly few projects which were scaled up. For example, our microcredit, that is a clear example of a global scale up that has happened through Muhammad Yunus. He got Nobel Prize also. Now it is earlier it was a type of a project with microcredit common. Now it is a global phenomenon. So he's now this Grameen Bank is a giant organization, is a multinational organization with a lot of resources at their disposal. That is because of the effective scaling up done. Level. For example, in our case, we have done a skill enterprise. We started that is a form of scale. So, but still, how many projects we scaled up? Only we child project in tribal areas in Odisha, even Andhra Pradesh also. That is a type of social, but still sustainability is not happened. So these are the other issues. So now let me go to the other subject. Next slide, monitoring. So this slide I have stolen from Professor Rangasamy because I am impressed out of this tool. You see, it is like a microscope. So somebody is carrying tools, activities, materials under this, and then have an eye on so many high charts. They are carrying materials. This is real depiction, real way of presenting monitoring. What is monitoring? Monitoring is a type of third eye, or sometimes a close eye on what is happening. It is a tracking of process. So that is this is a very good visual. I am much impressed of this. I have stolen, or I have with acknowledgement I have taken from Professor Rangaswamy. This one. Now let me coming to monitoring is process, or a type of a overseeing process, or a type of supervising process. Some maybe in the government parlance they use the word inspection, but in the management it is called monitoring, which is commonly used. Earlier it was called supervision, different names. But here what you are going to monitor the process. So you have a type of a process. If you are thinking in terms of design thinking concept, log frame concept, you have so many activity input, activities, output, outcomes, and then impact. The transfer of, or the process input to output is is a process. Then output to outcome process. Outcome. So that is the process. It's a path. It is a developer path. We are traveling. For example, we are traveling to Delhi. So how are you going? You are going like a migrant, means walking. It's a very sad part of it. Suppose by train, by flight, by cycle, by so many ways are there. You are laying out the path and process. How are you going? So progress. Progress, what I mean is what really happened, where we have moved forward, where we have not moved forward. So that is the progress. And performance. So we have certain performance indicator, performance standards, against the standards that you need to track. Not very tracking the performance against some standards. That you need to spell out very clearly. Tracking the performance standard. Differences made means an impact made, or a type of changes made by the project on a regular basis. So there is a difference between this one. On a regular basis, maybe daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, quarterly basis, every year. So that is the monitoring of this. So then under monitoring, this involves systematic, regular, and periodic collection, analysis of. It is similar. So one thing I want to make it clear is a action project is really a research. That is called the action research. So you can convert into real research, which you can put it in the research mode. That's all. So that's all. For that, our in that respect, our academics, especially our MIS and Dr. NNR, Professor Rangaswamy, senior person, can help us, because we are doing. Sometimes we were stuck in reflex action, doing and a quick mode. We never reflect it. That's why a third person is involved. Certainly they will be helpful. So that is why a systematic, because it's involved regular data collection. If you see the NGO, they collect sometimes unwanted information. So that is why. So you need to specify what you want. So suppose your activity, there are under 5 activities. Collect whatever is needed. I have seen some projects, they collect too much information. This is like walking in the wood. You miss the tree for the wood. So that will happen. So be specified, be focused. That is why there is a clear indicator and other part of it. So you collect whatever you can consume. So that is what you can eat, you can buy. So that is as per your requirement. Then analysis. So normally what is happening is they collect the data, hardly they analyze it. It is like a research. So analysis is very important, where whether suppose we have gender disaggregation of data, whether for HC, ST, for differentially labeled targets are there. You have to analyze where, who were the beneficiaries, and what extent. This is called equity. What extent all of them are benefited. All these things you have to do. That analysis of data to know the progress. You have certain milestone, certain progress standards that you have to measure it, and then gaps. This is very, very important. Suppose where we have misfired, where we have derailed, where we have gone out of way, that needs to be identified and bring it into the track every month, every week, every quarter. This is a very important part of it. Then an initiate action. Mere identifying gaps or identifying problem is not operational problem, not sufficient. You have to initiate action to correct it. Mid-term or you have to quarter action or monthly action, or that is important to ensure project is on track and to improve the functioning also. So that is the issue. Now coming to evaluation, there is a clear difference between monitoring and evaluation. Evaluation is a judging this one, assessing it. So that is the most important. Actually, it is like a judge. So I know Dr. Innanar studied law. So he knows what is the rule of law, what is the mandate of a judge based on evidence. Same is the case here. For that, you have to assess and judge. First thing is assessment. Assessment is taking a decision based on evidence. It is exactly like a court. Now, Satangulam incident, so many theories, so many things are happening, but a judge will decide on the basis of evidences, hardcore evidences, credible evidences. So that is what I use the word credible, because it is a much more reliable, authentic evidence. There are different forms of evidence, some circumstantial evidences, etc., etc. So that is why assessment of the direction where we are going. So, but are we going in the right direction, strategic direction, operational way? Are we going? Then progress. Are we going in the correct way? Judging. Suppose your direction is you are little bit. It is like a GPS. So when you are, it is like that is monitoring is a GPS. So here you are judging. Once you are going to particular place, say Madurai, so it will say this one. Then yes, I want to go to Madurai. Here you are assessing, judging. Yes, this of vehicle. So this is judgment. So that is assessment. And then progress and impact. So you know the difference of impact against the indicator. This is another part of it. Indicators are like a pulse. Our body. It is like a reflectors also. So it is in the body like a pulse. What pulse will indicate? So our heartbeat. So is it all right? It is, or suppose fever. Suppose something happens to fever. Corona season. Suppose the dry cough or loss of appetite, loss of smell, all the symptoms of the disease. So this is also an indicator, is also like a thermometer to measure the temperature. So that is the indicator. It is like a reflector. Suppose when the vehicle is going, where you are going there. So that is the indicators. Indicators and milestone. When you are traveling in Chennai, so once you cross Madurai, so there is a Tiruchi. These are different milestones there. So you have to see whether milestones are whatever planned is achieved. The development pathway is achieved, and make judgment. As I told you, judgment on what? The values generated by the value. The value, what I mean is the benefits, the gains, changes. Suppose in terms of migrant, for example, the rights which they got, or the labor standards which they achieved as a result of all these are the values. So that next this evaluation and monitoring. Evaluation is periodic. It may be there are different types which I will explain later. So it is periodic, maybe quarter, a type of or mid-term, or end of term, or express, but different period of time. You come. This is like a stop. Have a stop at Matutavani, and then have let us review back. It is a type of flashback of our journey. Our travel, development journey. So that you are reviewing back. It is flashing back. So that is the key part of evaluation. Evaluation involve periodic or at the end of the project or post project analysis. After some donors interested, what will happen after 1 year? So ex post facto evaluation, that is called post analysis of the relevance. What way the project is relevant to the migration. It is a greater level banning subject. Effectiveness of what extent it is useful. Efficiency is measuring the value of the money which you spend, the cost and benefit efficiency, HR efficiency, time efficiency, how far you are able to efficiently executing this one. Then merit and demerit, that is the another part of this one. So every case there are merits and demerits. In the similar every project there are good part of it, bad part of it. All these things are part of the merits and demerits of your project, and direction. Already I told you, and suggest measures to improve. For example, even if it is a midterm project, now you can take midterm correction. Suppose end of project you can learn lesson. This also, as I told you, evaluation form of auditing financial resources. The bad auditing is now used even in the program auditing also. There are different terminologies. The financial auditing of this one, they are also the same thing. So now coming to the purpose of monitoring. So the purpose here is nothing but improve the project management. Any project, your money input needs to be optimally utilized. So that is the improve the project management. It should improve. Keep on maximizing the outcomes, output. That is the word. Process management part of it, the process and the performance of the project. So that is the one. Then track up the deployment of input. So here, to what extent the monitoring you are going to track up the inputs. Here, inputs, what I technically mean is HR, money, materials. Already I told you. Against the set plan. So you have a plan. Against the set plan, what extent HR is performing, money is being used in a prudent way. All these things are there. Then reschedule it. Suppose if some strategy is not working, you need to reschedule it, revise it, rebudget it. All these are all part of the monitor. Sometimes what is happening, some NGOs mechanically they implement it, like a infrastructure project. So that doesn't hold good. It is a type of reflection of the work done, rebudget and rework. Sometimes all these things can be possible. Donor will allow on these things. So that is this one. Then register the progress. So we need to register the progress because our human memory is very short. Institutional memory is also very short. So we have to document the progress for the benefit of the others, for the donor, for other stakeholders, for your own institutional memory, for your own learning. All these things are part of it. So this registration involves a lot of documents are involved in it. So this document need to be consolidated every month. That the data captured in through various activities are documented in various documents. For example, training. You have a training register. Suppose you have microcredit. You have a credit register. So all these are all part of it. Then from the register, you are generating monthly report, quarterly report, annual report. The purpose of each one is different. Monthly report is against the, as I told you first, operational plan, activity plan. So against it, the monthly plan, you have to convert it into a monthly plan. This monthly plan, whether things are going on rightly, the similar way quarterly, and evidences to authenticate the validity of the project. Like the research, evidence is important while conducting empirical experiments. So that is the evidence against evidence. Again, here, like a judge, you have to rely on the evidence and authenticate the validity of it. Someone should authenticate. You will authenticate, which is not acceptable. Your perspective is different. Beneficiaries will authenticate the project. Other government sometimes part of it, they have to authenticate the project. Donor has to authenticate the project. So then your validity is high, reliability is high. So that is why some third-party auditing, third-party evaluation, all these things plays a vital role. Then to learn from the implementation. For example, Muhammad Yunus is a clever, smart man, Bangladesh. So he's an economist. So he theorized it and made it, learned a lot of things and scaled up the lessons and sold. It is like a selling the products and services of microcredit all over the world. You know, that is a real one, to draw lessons and recycle it. So you are going to reuse it, share it with others, share it to various stakeholders. That is that purpose this is used to understand the different stakeholders' perspective. For example, beneficiaries' interest may be different. Perception of the benefit may be different. The employer's perception is different. Donor perception, agency perception. So we are inside an agency, we are always different. So sort of the operational this one. Then it is for accountability purpose as well. So now monitoring tools and techniques. So this is another part of it. Example, there are different tools available. Registering implementation data through records. There are different, what I will do. So in our organization, once a project is there, I will sit coolly and develop a lot of formats for our for capturing this one. Formatting it, then pilot it, and then we will give it to the grassroots actors who doesn't know much about the project, but still test it and then refine it. That's a record is the basic one, like the quote. So there are records to rely on it. The same is the case for it. For example, yesterday our this Satanglam case, there was another video record saying that in the shop nothing untoward has happened, so they have taken to the police station. So that the story of police is different from that video. So this is a record, the record of this. The other things are migrant profile, baseline data, activity track record. So there are so many records of this nature. Then developing report. Then before that one, so normally any project they have a baseline data. What is baseline? Baseline is the starting point. So you are traveling from Madurai to say Delhi or Chennai. Where you start your journey? So that need to be very clear. What is the status at the present level? It is like a child. When a child is growing, suppose 1 year old. So second year, third year, fourth year. So we are monitoring this one. First year, where they are in terms of their health, in terms of their the other milestones. All these are all part of the baseline. So baseline for a project, to measure it, if you have a baseline data, it is very useful, but a little bit costly. There are some quick ways. That one, the outside, some external agency can help you. Baseline is very much necessary to compare the achievement, end point, end line data. That's called end line, midline data. All these things are relevant that you have to document, keep it with you. Baseline data is a starting point which you have to do. So this one. So next is sometimes they also use the control experiment or treatment or non-treatment group. Suppose it's in a research, you have a experimental research. Suppose the area where you intervene is called the experimental area, where you are not going to intervene is the control area, non-treatment area. So that you can compare the progress made. So that is the part of it. For one of time, I'm going to next year. Activity tracker. As I told, digitally now there are a lot of computer aided softwares are available for a tracker. Even we got some donor who used to monitor these activities and this one. Then event records. So many other. That is one thing. The reporting format. So this is another thing. So a project man who conceived or a demon who conceived the project, he has a great idea. So first draft of the MIS monthly format or quarterly format, whatever it may be, he has to develop or she has to develop and share it with the implementing partners, implement it, and that need to be refined and improved. This one in the form of monthly quarter report. Then financial report. This is also equally important. Normally NGO, most of the NGO, the financial side and the program or the project side goes parallel. So because they prepare separately, they have also the same system is has to be followed. Then digital record. Now this is the digital era. So you need that digital record like the GPS, etc. Photographic, as I told you, that is the evidence. Whether it is for the court or whether for our development purposes, photograph is very important. They have the videographic evidence and case stories. So that itself is actually case stories. So it's a qualitative research or qualitative way of monitoring, which is very good. Normally, most of the NGOs, they develop only small or the process or the progress, sometimes output up to that. The real changes taken place is not recorded. That is the problem. For that one, you need a little bit of experience or some training to sensitize on this one. So case stories are very, very important. Then a review of the project inputs. So you have to review. Review process is another tool which is available for us to know the progress. So that one. Normally, every agency has set time. For example, weekly review, monthly review. All these are all part of that one. Then third-party monitoring. So that is why in the earlier times, even most of the donor, bigger donor, even for example, we have implemented a TB project. We have a research partner in Pune who are, it's an anthropological organization. So they used to monitor a third party, and the budget is also part of it. The similar way, MISS can capture the opportunity for this one, because donor look for a third party monitoring to assess the project. That was the trend, though now things are changing on it. So, okay, next is what and when. So what we have to do is deployment of human resources, budget, rushing through it. The deployment, usage of project tools, all these things you have to do. Accomplishment of target, meeting, time plan, daily, monthly, quarterly, end of the year. You have to, when you have to do. Daily you have to do, weekly, monthly, quarterly, all these things you have to do on the time part of it is, and also the targets, all these things you have to do. Next, coming to this is another little bit of technical one. Sometimes even experienced person will struggle to design an indicator. Indicator of different type. As I told you, indicators are like a thermometers, or a type of reflectors, or a pulse of the project, which will tell us where we are, or to measure it, we need some measurement tool, indicator. For example, number of person trained, 100 in this month, in this quarter. That 100 is a target for that is output indicator. So that is all. It is intended to track up the deliverables, various deliverables, inputs, and other things. So that is the indicator. For example, input and activity indicator. For input means HR. So assess it, for example, how do you assess performance indicator, that is called. Suppose you have to set performance indicator. What basis you are like performance indicator in terms of accomplishment of the project task, activities as per the plan, fulfillment of the targets, sensitivity to the, all these are the HR input indicator. Activity indicator, suppose take some awareness. So what is really awareness in terms of number of units of awareness is awareness in generally means for example AIDS. Suppose then knowledge is a form of this one. So you have to think of what extent that campaign on radio talk or video one or other one, you need to set this one. But normally donors more interested in output other indicator. Process indicator, process in how your travel is happening. So from implementation, different stage, milestone. He set the milestone. Suppose every quarter you have to travel this one. So at the end of the project, you have to achieve this one. This is a travel path, pathway of progress. So that one is the process indicator. Output indicator, output number of person trained, number of person awareness, number of meetings conducted, everything. Indicators Impact indicators is a larger change in terms of policy change, the realization of the rights, entitlement, the effective functioning of your social enterprise, all these things. Some areas, for example, proxy indicators. Proxy means it is a type of a supplementary one. Sometimes some areas it is very difficult. For example, nutrition, assessing the nutrition. A proxy indicator maybe in a village where there was no a shop, or sometimes a cart which is regularly carrying with vegetables, which may be serve as a proxy indicator. Proxy is sometimes straightforward, sometimes difficult. So that time you have to develop it as an additional supplementary indicator. This one. Then qualitative and indicator. So now donors are obsessed with the quantity. So number, because it is easy to monitor. Quality, for example, capacity, awareness, rights, all these are all a little bit qualitatively different. Livelihood security, well-being, livelihood well-being. These are all difficult in that one. For that one, you need a lot of qualitative records, evidences like case studies are of greater relevance. These are some types. The purpose of evaluation. As I told you, the purpose is assess and judge the this one. Already I told you, effectiveness, efficiency of the project. Measure the deliver, whether to measure where we have reached, whether what extent we have measured. That's why for measurement we need a baseline data to compare it. Where we started our journey, where we are now against the number of training, number of awareness created, number of other deliverable achieved, and values. Already I explained. To know the achievement, where we have achieved, what extent we have achieved, all these patterns. That's why to know this one, some agency has a grid system or grade system or ranking system, whether you have A, B, C, D. For example, your grading is A means it's very good, or B means medium, C means poor, D means very poor. So that are all subjective things, but you have to assess it based on certain criteria, certain evidences, all these things. Then accountability for the funds. That also this is useful because donor, every agency program evaluation is separate and the financial evaluation is separate. Sometimes some auditing firms or some other agency they do this one, which may be internal or external. So many other ways of evaluating it. Auditing is a form of evaluation. That is assess and judge the risk. Another is every project of Corona, how to de-risk it, how to mitigate it. So all these things involve you have to, as part of the evaluation, you have to draw learnings, which I told you earlier. Then sustainability potential. What extent the project is able to maintain, you are able to maintain it. For example, some cases, sustainability, even the court case, they use the word sustainability. What extent the case is sustainable. So what extent you have the solid case to defend you or to favor you. The same is the case. The evidence of microcredit is a classical case of this one. Already I told you. Then future planning purpose. A project can fetch you lot of learnings. It is like a wild net, like a fishing. Suppose if you at the end of it you have got different kinds of fish, sometimes poisonous creatures also will be part of it. That you need to plan further. Suppose some net may be very useful, some net may not be useful. The same is applicable here also. Future planning purposes. You have to. It is an investment. You have to capitalize the implementation of this one. The next is the types of evaluation. So there are different types of evaluation. Formative evaluation. Formative evaluation, suppose at the beginning of this one, suppose a project you are submitted, they evaluate it in terms, that is called appraisal also, but it is also formative evaluation in terms of data, in terms of the input supplied, material, activity planned. That is the formative. Summative means it is a type of end date together. Everything, sum means everything of the project at the end of this one together, the activity part, the input part, material part, process part, output part, outcome part, impact part, all these everything. Participative evaluation, through the beneficiary. There is also another word, self-evaluation. So the beneficiaries themselves are evaluating it. So that is some donors, most of the donors want that type. It is depending upon the agency to propose. Suppose if you propose, you have to do it. Some cost is also involved that you have to budget. Then internal evaluation that you are doing it. For example, when we are implementing, we do evaluate it every periodically, midterm, internal purpose. External purpose, third party or external, sometimes donor will do that one. Donor will appoint some person to evaluate, to measure the project. Internal evaluation is by the agency. External evaluation is by outside entities, outside entities. Ex-ante evaluation. Ex-ante evaluation after 1 year of implementation, some agency interest, what extent it is being sustained, maintained. For that purpose, Ex post fact also, sorry, ex-ante means before. It is like a formative evaluation. Ex post fact means after the implementation of the project. Then impact evaluation, they focus only the impacts or the benefits or the changes made by the project, the transformation made by the project, the rural, for example, the livelihood transformation, health transformation, transformation of the livelihoods of these all these. Midterm evaluation, this one. Then financial evaluation is another part of this. Process evaluation, quantitative, qualitative evaluation. So all these things briefly. Then principles of evaluation. So next I'm going to principles. Mean it's like similar to a judge. So the rule of law, not the rule of man. What is happening happened in recently in the Satangulam is the rule of man. Law is taken out of their mindset, so it is thrown in the wind. So evaluation is a judgment. Evaluation judgment should be based on evidence. That already objectivity. So this is very important. Objective means it's a sign. Objective way. The opposite of the subjective way. Sometimes some agencies, internal part of it, they evaluate on their own time. It should be objective means it's on the basis of the plan, what you have planned and what you have achieved. So that is objectivity. It's like a research. In the research, you have set objective. You systematically evidences, empirical experiment is the basis of this one, not subjective consideration. So that is the part of the objectivity. Then participation also. This is very important. Like a journalist, for example, a journalist, when he is making a story, it should be holistic, covering all the stakeholders who are connected with the problem. The same way, for example, some of our migration. So there are stakeholders like the employers, government, the contractors, beneficiaries, NGOs. All of their views need to be sought. The evaluator should take into account of their perspectives and incorporate everybody's perspective. In that respect, yesterday I was sharing about stakeholders analysis, stakeholders perception. So against the stakeholder, if you have mapped the stakeholder perspective as part of your participatory project development, then it will be easier. So then comprehensiveness, this is very important. Sometimes some evaluation, you see part of the picture, not the holistic picture, against the plan. What you have planned, what you have achieved, against the plan, whatever proposed, whether you have achieved or not, that is the comprehensiveness. Then the evaluator should maintain a balanced view. Again, like a judge, as I told you, should be based on the rule of law, based on the evidences of what you have accomplished, what you have done, and maintain impartiality, neutrality. It is a judge quality also. Maintain an impartiality of the decisions or the judgment which you are making. You should not be biased. So it is clear. For that, you need not be crude in your approach. Sometimes, for example, NNR was sharing in our in a meeting that in the Child Welfare Committee, they interpreted the best interest in their own way. So it is a subjective interpretation, biased, prejudiced approach. It should not be the mere rule of law, the spirit of the law or spirit of the project. That is the key part of it. That sometimes some evaluators miss this part of the spirit of the project. That is the key. Spirit means the end man, Antodaya, the last man, the beneficiary. His views is the key. Our judgment, even Gandhi also said, a person who is really affected, a lost man, or a woman who is going with jewels in a village and nothing happened. So that is a real liberty, freedom. So that is the impartiality. That is again without bias and prejudice. These are the words which judiciary also use without prejudices, because they are your own personal privilege, and I have my own choices, or I have my own way to do. You should not. You should be protected from this one evaluator. But most of the evaluators' attitude is not impartial. They may be sometimes subjective in nature. That is the key. Since most of our faculties, MA faculties, are there, so you need to have such a quality. The best interest of the students or best interest of the beneficiary should be reflected. And project planning coming. Plan should be the basis of the plan. Again, I am going back to your project plan. It is like a constitution. It is like a law. Suppose the law is there, constitution is there. So you are, while judging it, the law is part of the constitution. She is a mother, and you are drawing from the constitution, and then evolve a law, and then policy, and then program, etc., etc. So when you are judging it, you have to judge based on the plan which you have conceived. So that is the basis, not on any subject. Okay, since time is over, then tools and techniques. This is since we are very much experienced on this one. I have drafted more than 20-35 terms of evaluation for external donor. This one, this every agency it is terms of reference is a type of type of laying out what you want to do. Even in the for example, now the High Court of Madurai has directed the district judge to assess the evidences of what had happened in the Satangulam. There is a terms of reference. The High Court will give certain what you want to do. You have to follow this. It is like a more or less like a constitution. You have to go. Your boundary is fixed. You have to go as per what is referred to you. Is any tribunal or anywhere else terms of reference. Whatever is a framework, whatever is framed issue, whatever was assigned, is a type of assignment given, you have to follow. That is the terms of reference, and they have to, the evaluators should stick to these terms of evaluation, not going beyond that one. Then content analysis, that is a tool. It is you have to project and different content you have to analyze against the objective. Then baseline, endline, that already I told you this one. Analysis of various project data and progress, that I will before. Analysis of case studies, you know this one. Scenario analysis. Before, this is very relevant, especially in the case of design thinking. You got to start before and after scenario. What was the beneficial scenario at the beginning stage, then at the end of the stage? Scenario analysis. Sometimes this most of the evaluators never go back the beginning stage. Only if you know the beginning of the journey, you can understand the changes taken place. Scenario, end of the scenario analysis. Then counterfactual analysis. Counterfactual analysis, opposite of it, without a project. Suppose if a migrant project, without the project, not the same. The bondage system is there, serfdom is there, contractors exploit them, employers exploit them, no government influence. But after the project is implemented, you find changes. Go back, a counterfactual analysis. Already I showed you experimental and control group analysis. It's a very important agencies, professional agencies like MIS or academic institution can do a lot in this. Now many agencies are interested in experiment. Experimental is a treatment group. Suppose the project is a treatment in some area you are using it. We have implemented it in 4-5 projects on this one in a European Commission assistant project. Yeah, we have chosen at the beginning of this stage benchmarking was done, and the control group did the same thing we have done while benchmarking it or baseline conducting this one. Then the project was implemented. Then at the end of the project, we internally as well as the third party evaluator used to measure the treatment group as well as control. So the comparison is possible. That is the advantage of this. Involves a lot of research experiences for that. Problem and solution. And actually, a project is a package of solution activities as well. So where you stood when the project began, where we are now. So that is the problem and solution. Equity analysis. This is a very high tech. So equity analysis means any project you need to assess the benefit in terms of equity. Equity, what I mean, what extent differentially able to got benefit, what extent single women got benefit, what extent SC, ST or excluded communities benefited it. So this is equity analysis, very much important part of it. That is another. Return on investment, value for money. So this is like a commercial investment. Now, especially agency, all the agencies, value for money analysis, return for investment analysis. Suppose you are spend 2 crores against this money spent, investment made, social investment, what achievement you have made in terms of money. Suppose without investment of this money, 2 crores, what would be the scenario? Like a counterfactual analysis. So value for money, that is why cost benefit analysis more or less. So that is one thing. Then I say another is evaluate your research, evaluation scoring. Even at the some of the agencies like European Commission, DFID, UNDP, they have a evaluation grade for appraisal of the project as well as evaluating the project. What basis evaluate, some scoring also. Sometimes I told you A, B scoring on this one. Then now process of evaluation. So this is the diagram which I have drawn from Professor Rangaswamy, and I have fine-tuned it a little bit. So this is the process of evaluation. For example, means, activities, result, log frame, whatever, result-based one, or even in design thinking. This is not a straightforward path. It may be a path of it. So every stage you have to means what we have to do. So already I have explained it. Since time is let's I rush through this. This is another diagram of the socio-economic problem. It's a diagrammatic. This also I have taken from Professor Rangaswamy. Still, it is very relevant. It is another visual. So the same visually we are representing whatever I said visually represented. This is another part of this one. Another, this is also Professor Rangaswamy's one present situation. Whatever the sustained benefit, time, problem, process, or path of travel. This I have made a little bit changes here, there to suit this one. This is another visual presentation of this one. The next is contents of the evaluation. This I have taken exclusively from a DFID evaluation report done by an agency called ACT in UK. So what are the various components in a report? Suppose if you are evaluating, you can use it as a base. Little bit of changing here and there. Whatever which I told you is there. So you can follow this one as a guide for your evaluation part of it. That's all. I think I have exceeded my time limit for 10 minutes. Let me conclude with this one. I look forward your queries and your suggestions And because for want of time, I have lot of tools are there in case anybody wants. I sent some of the materials to Professor Joby also. Some other things. If you want more practice-oriented framework, tools, or anything for your operation. Yesterday also, I'm happy that one Sabida, our Professor Dr. NNR student, MPhil student, called me. She wants to start a startup. So I guided her for a startup. So anyone of such nature is interested, kindly let me know. Professor is there. We are all there to guide you to progress it. I have no vested interest, no nothing, because I'm working still. I'm continuing this one, but within the limited time after 7 o'clock in the night, anybody, anyone has any issues, kindly call me. I any clarification is because I have done in English. I know sometimes this jargon, technical things may be difficult for some of the beginners. Still, I look forward your queries. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I hope that you have grappled with this presentation. And thank you, sir, for this one. Look forward to your responses.
Thank you, sir, for the sharing.
Yeah.
Now participants can ask your questions. If there is any question, you can post your question. And I request Mr. C. Charles, Assistant Professor in the Department of Social Work, to facilitate the discussion. For those participants who are attending from YouTube channel also, you can also post your question in the chat box. We will take it to you.
Congratulations, Aro sir.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
It was a good presentation.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
And as usual, you have given quite a lot for the participants. And the only thing is they let it digest whatever you said and then try to do it.
Yeah.
But I have two questions to ask you.
Yeah. Right, sir.
One is evaluation indicators.
Okay.
Are these evaluation indicators of the part of your operational planning, or you get it later?
Okay.
This
Okay.
is
Number
the first
one.
question. Yeah. The second question is with regard to equity analysis.
Yeah.
Is it the impact of any program will have to be equally distributed to all the stakeholders?
Yeah.
Or is it whatever may be the program, it has to be all the people connected, whether they're connected or not connected to the projects, will have to get the benefits. There are 2 points of view. Suppose equity analysis, the equal distribution of benefits to all the stakeholders.
Yeah.
Sometimes, maybe in a particular project, the physically handicapped may not be stakeholders because the project is such. But even then, equal distribution should be there for all the people. There are two views for viewpoint.
Yeah.
So I would like you to clarify these two questions,
Yeah. So first questions, evaluation indicators. You have asked about that one. This is depending upon the terms of reference. Suppose in the terms of references, the donor agency or all the stakeholders together, they have set a type of indicator for the evaluator to assess it based on, like as you said, equity analysis, or based upon the input analysis, output analysis, or for that specific yardstick or measurement yardsticks are specified in the terms of references. Then you have to apply these indicators while analysis are coming to that judgment. That is number one part of it. In case if there is certainly no, your assessment is based upon certain indicators, or it should not be subjective one. Suppose the indicators are already part of the log frame or part of your project plan, you can compare these indicators with the project, and then relate to what extent these indicators are reliable or indicators are relevant. Sometimes you can criticize this. Suppose the indicator is not fully capturing the real changes taken place. That type of analysis, you can relevance of the indicator also, you can make it. It is, as I told you, the evaluation indicators, you have to zero down your decision based on certain things. For that, indicator will be helpful to focus. Because your project is a larger entity, larger one. So we have to delimit to some focus area. Indicator is because the objective normally is standard is, for example, goal. The standard is 3 to 4. Even 2 also is quite okay. Then the similar way, the objective 3, 4. The output maximum 5. So these are the general for 3 outcomes indicators. So you have to focus that one. Beyond that one, you are not supposed to go beyond it. You can assess it, and that is called unintended effects and impact of it. Suppose beyond that also something happened, you can document it, but it is unintended, unplanned one. Sometimes it may result to adverse effect also. That which you can do it. That is my response of that one evaluation indicator. Then coming to equity analysis, yes, this is a big thing. Distribution analysis. It is like a distributive justice. In our distributive justice is part of our constitution. So the similar way, your resources or benefits or the changes should be equally distributed among the poorest of the poor, maybe different group that distributing to different groups. Suppose if it is reaching to the unreached, it has reached the last mile. Last mile, what I mean is that the poorest of the poor person, differently abled, or a person who is excluded, then the equity contribution is very high. There are some framework also, equity analysis for such. You have the reached, the unreached group, invisible persons are made invisible, excluded or included. So that is the evidence that you have to map out the equity changes, equity benefits to different groups. So that is normally donors always want a greater equity analysis for assessing the benefits, whether it is distributed equally or unequally. I know that in government, mostly the below poverty line, sometimes above the poverty line capturing the benefit, because there are targets. So that means your distribution, your equity is poor. Suppose on the other hand, the poorest, we have seen now the corona has exposed. So that is the one. If you are able to target or the benefit reaching to these segment of population, then your equity contribution is very high. So I hope I have clarified to some extent to your expectation. So,
Yeah, thank you very much, Rasul.
yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Sir, there is a question from Mr. Poontamil. The question goes like this. How can we associate project management at present scenario, that is COVID-19? Is there any opportunities for NGO, CSO to serve the general public in this pandemic breakout?
Yes, we are in a challenging and crisis time. Opportunity, actually, necessity is the mother of invention. So the same way, opportunity, it has exposed. During tsunami time also, we have seen it. Suppose despite adverse circumstances, there are opportunities. So here they are also the same thing. Now, for example, we are now in the digital era. So now we are speaking, it's because of Corona. Corona has brought us together. Now university institution is going to the homes of everyone. Now every listener, audience is in their home. You are taking the knowledge, experiences to them. Is a clear evidence. Now, as I told you, we had in our CD group, we have a discussion on the digital community-based organization. So now you have to think out of social workers. Your social institution should think also in those mode. because distance, if there is no distance, your distance will be minimized. Opportunity, so now face to face, now because of the technology is a boon as well as bane, but at the same time, this Android technology has brought us together. Even for example, we have used even the cell phone for now for the purpose of cash transfer. For example, our banks, lot of cash transfers are taking place through this one. So people, old age pension, widow pension are going directly to them. So like the bank is now branchless, branching is the concept. Banking is going to the families. Even I have, for the past more or less 6 months, I never go to bank. So that is why technology is one answer, but at the same time, we cannot wait for physical one, we cannot change it. That's why we have to use the offline mode, like telephone or the other mode, internet.
Next year.
For example, there are different reasons to stop the funding by the donors. So there are sometimes some agencies, they may have allegations and that need to be proved, financial misappropriation, and that needs to be checked by external auditors. Investigation, that is in the auditing. So there are evidences of siphoning of money, misuse of money in the evaluation, and then the money will be stopped. And another part of it is most of the donors, sometimes they keep some part of the money. Suppose in the midterm, that's why they do midterm evaluation. Suppose at the end of the project it has 4-year period, 2 year they conduct evaluation. Suppose in the end of 2 years, the project output and outcome has not achieved, and it is below. For example, there are out of 4 grade, you are in the C grade or D grade, then that is a genuine reason for the donor to stop the funding. And for that one, like suppose before starting this one, the donor has to use it as a tool, evaluation file, to justify this one. You can get clarification from the CSO or NGO about their views. And after getting their views, so the donor can take a fair decision. I have seen that most of the foreign donors, they are very fair in their decision. On the other hand, sometimes some Indian-based NGOs, they have subjective considerations. Also, they do sometimes in government. Mostly other considerations are part of the reason. If you are not paying the cuts, sometimes a project will be stopped. That is a different one. So, but impact evaluation is used positively as well as negatively. So that is my response.
With regard to the question again, the question was on what methodology we follow to analyze the impact. That also is part of the question.
Yeah.
If that is the question, once you use the word impact, then you are trying to say that the change has happened because of your intervention and your intervention alone. So if you are able to do that, then you need to go for either post-facto research or for experimental work. So these are the two methodologies available. That's the answer to this question. Thank you.
Yes, sir. I agree with you. The methodology matters a lot. For example, the same travel scenario. Suppose if you want to go to Delhi by flight, that is one method of reaching that one. It's better costly. Suppose if you want to go by train, that is another one. The same way, there are buckets of methodologies, different approaches are there. You have to pick and choose, like the research. You have so many tools are available, qualitative tools, quantitative tools. Suppose if the project is a qualitative nature, then you have to use ethnology methodology, research, anthropological methods, the experimental control group, that type of research, randomized trial. Suppose, for example, our Nobel laureate now recently got Duflo and others. They used a randomized trial to assess. That was used only in the pharmaceutical sector. Now it is used in development assistance for evaluation purposes. Most of our land recent Nobel laureate used randomized trial for that one. That is a very controlled environment. As I told you, the experimental methodology, controlled treatment group, or experimental group. So that involves more research. External resources will be mostly useful. Sometimes in-house resources may be less. So for that one, you have to plan from the beginning. So that is why this evaluation methodology from the beginning and budget need to be allocated for this purpose. You are talking about ex post evaluation at the end of the after implementing the project, after end of this one. For that, resources need to be allocated, and then you can learn a lot of things about the sustainability, about the benefits of the project in a different way. That's why a lot of research evaluation plays a lot of role. Experimental evaluation, like there is a randomized control trial. So many methodologies are there. You have to pick according to, you can choose according to the money, resource available, donors' interest, and which is the best for your project. Whichever is the best. Suppose health means there are certain methodology which you can make. Suppose if you are working in a tribal area, ethnography is the best methodology. Suppose some area, digital intervention, video, audio, digital technology which you can use. So that is the one. But objectivity you have to maintain that one. I hope change. So some to get to capture the change, you need a specific qualitative methodology. So you accordingly you have to choose it. So you have to, some may be practicable, some may not be practicable, relevant. So this you have to discuss with the implementing agency as well as the partners, and then we can choose the methodology. And the partners should also be comfortable. For example, partnership, participatory methodology, self-evaluation. All these things involve more time and the resources. Sometimes beneficiary time is also required. So for that you have to have your resources. That's why planning is important. If it's a research-based planning is being done, the documentation will be very useful, relevant. Most of the time, NGOs hardly produce good reports. That's why there is a need for an external research-based person with academic and practical experience, which will be relevant. Hope I have responded to you, sir. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah.
Charles, sir, is there any other question?
Sir, since there are a lot of positive comments from the participants and there is no questions from the participant side, it seems, sir. So over to Dr. Jobi Babu.
Okay. So thank you very much, Charles, sir, for facilitating the discussion. So, dear KTRS, sir, my dear colleagues and dear participants. So for the past 2 days, we were discussing about an important concept for development practitioners, that is project proposal writing and how to manage the funded project and all. So as you all know, it is a very one of the widest topic that cannot be covered within 3 hours or 4 hours. It's a very huge topic, and we were so fortunate to have Dr. K.T. Arasu with us for sharing the thought. So I'm just moving on to my responsibility of sharing vote of thanks. Before that, I just want to inform those who are attending. We have noted down the attendance of all the participants who have attended for the 2 days. In the beginning, we told that there are more than 400 participants registered from different states. But the real fact is that it's only nearly 150 participants who attended for the 2-day session, and from different states. Exactly more than 14 states and 4 countries have attended our session. So we will be sharing the feedback form for your certificate purpose very soon to your personal mail ID. We will not be issuing certificate to all those who are simply registered and waiting for certificate. We will be issuing the certificate to only those who have attended the 2-day session. This is just for your information. Now I'm moving on to my responsibility of proposing vote of thanks for the 2-day session. As we all know, COVID-19, after COVID-19 or maybe during COVID-19, a lot of colleges or institutions came up with the different ideas of webinars and all. Even we also started that thinking of organizing different programs. From the last 2 months, the Mother Institute of Social Sciences are organizing different kinds of webinar. The participants who attended the session. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, can I say a
Yes,
few
sir,
words?
please. Yes, sir, please. Sir.
Yeah. So I thank first our institution, our director, secretary, and others for giving the opportunity. Second, Dr. Nishant, principal, I know that he is the founder of this our CD community. What I am now here is because of that network, which played a greater role in bridging the gap between the academic or the MIS and the alumni. So that brought us very close to the institution. And further, third, the corona has made us together now. So in that respect, I'm in a way is able to engage in this affair mainly because of corona. Because a lot of time is spare time is available. It's a golden time for reflect also. I thank all the, specifically Professor Joby, who mentored me on the technology because of a little bit of hitches then and there. Really, he's very helpful, patient, and hand-holded me in all respect. I also thank all faculty members and anybody, anytime, if any, either in the CD platform or personally also, any discussions or anything is needed, feel free to call me, or in the WhatsApp you can share with us about the practicalities, about the real world and academic world. There are some differences. So I again hope that some tangible work, at least one or two, are able to initiate some action. I'm a little bit happy. I'm happy beyond academics. I thank all of you for your patience, for encouraging me to present it. If any additional material is also required, whatever I have, I'm happy to share with you at all times. So thank you again for the opportunity. So I hope that we have exceeded the time limit little bit. So sorry for that one. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Well done, Miss. This is what we expect from Miss, to be contributed to all the people. Because you are the leader in South. You
Thank you, sir. Yeah,
Thank you
yeah.
very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Happy to do so.
Hello, Joby sir.
Yeah, sir, I'm here.
Yeah, thank you a lot. Can you leave the meeting?
Yeah, we can leave the meeting. Maybe maybe we can wait for 1 or 2 minutes. If somebody is not filled the form, they can also access me.
Okay, right.
Otherwise we can.
Sir, thank you, Arsu sir. Thank you,
Yeah.
Narayan
Thank
Raja
you,
sir.
sir.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your cooperation. Thank you, sir. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, PPT we will share to you, all of you. Very soon we will share to you. Anna, we can leave, Anna.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.